Imagine if I told you that everything you've come to believe about yourself is a grand illusion. The identity you hold so tightly to, the roles you play, the thoughts that consume you, even the emotions that define you, are all part of this intricate facade. Many of us navigate life convinced that we are merely our physical form, our careers, or our past experiences. But here's the profound truth. Beneath this facade lies something timeless, something vast and unchanging, your true essence. Consider this. How often have you felt constrained by societal expectation, burdened by the relentless pursuit of validation from others? Society conditions us to measure our value through external achievements, yet this pursuit often leaves us feeling empty and disconnected. The frustration, the anxiety, the constant need for approval, they're all symptoms of losing touch with your authentic self. This is where the illusion of identity ensnares you. But here's where it gets transformative. Awakening to your true self isn't just a possibility, it's your ultimate path. You are a soul that transcends any roles or labels imposed upon you. Once you grasp this truth, your perception of reality begins to shift. Challenges become opportunities for growth. Fears dissolve into understanding, and a profound sense of inner peace emerges. The key lies in unraveling the layers of illusion and reconnecting with the timeless part of yourself that has always existed. So, are you prepared to embark on this journey of self-discovery? Are you ready to liberate yourself from the confines of a false identity that has held you back for so long? What awaits you isn't merely a concept, it's a journey that promises to reshape every facet of your life. 1. The illusion of identity, breaking free from the mirror. Most people spend their entire lives looking in the mirror, convinced that the reflection staring back is who they are. They identify with their bodies, their names, their jobs, even their struggles, as if these things define their real identity. But here's the catch. Everything they believe about themselves is built on layers of conditioning. Society, family, culture, they all play a part in shaping an illusion of separation, making them forget their deeper essence. The question is, if they strip all of that away, what's left? Think about it. If a person loses their job, do they stop existing? If their body changes with age, does their soul vanish? Of course not. Yet, human consciousness has been programmed to cling to external labels, mistaking them for the truth. Imagine peeling an onion. Each layer removed gets closer to the core. That's identity. The outer layers are temporary, shifting with time, but the center remains untouched. And that center, it's not the mind, nor the emotions, it's something far greater. The false self is like a mask worn for so long that people forget it's even there. Every role they play, parent, employee, friend, is just a temporary costume. But what happens when they remove the mask? That's where things get interesting. A child doesn't stress over who they are. They just exist, fully present. That same presence still exists within every adult, buried beneath years of label. Reconnecting with it requires a shift in perception, a willingness to see beyond the mirror. One powerful way to start breaking free from this illusion is to question everything. When a thought says, "I'm not good enough," ask, who is saying this? Is it the real identity, the eternal soul, or just a conditioned belief picked up along the way? Practices like silent observation, journaling, and even spending time alone without distractions can help unravel the illusion. The more a person lets go of false labels, the closer they get to something extraordinary, their true self. 2. Understanding the soul, the eternal observer. If the body and mind are just temporary layers, then what's left? The soul. Not some abstract, unreachable idea, but the eternal observer, the part that never changes, never fades. While human consciousness is tangled in thoughts and emotions, the soul remains untouched, watching it all unfold. It's like the sky behind the clouds, always present even when hidden. The real identity isn't found in fleeting experiences, but in this unshakable presence, the silent witness behind every moment. Think of the body as a set of clothes. clothes. When one outfit wears out, it's replaced, but the person wearing it remains the same. The soul is that constant presence, slipping in and out of different physical forms, but never losing its essence. It doesn't age, doesn't break, doesn't disappear when the body does. And yet most people live as if the clothing is their true self, terrified of what happens when it's taken away. But what if they realized they were never just the outfit to begin with? The soul is like a driver, and the body is the car. The vehicle is necessary to move through the physical world, but it isn't the source of intelligence, direction, or purpose. A car might break down, get a new paint job, or even be replaced, but the driver, the soul, remains the same. The problem? Most people are so focused on the car that they forget who's behind the wheel. That's why spiritual awakening isn't about gaining something new. It's about remembering what's always been there. Reconnecting with the soul doesn't require complex rituals. It's as simple as being still, listening beyond the mind's chatter. Meditation, mindful breathing, or even just moments of silence help strip away distractions, revealing the eternal soul beneath the noise. Instead of identifying with fleeting thoughts, one can step back and observe them, realizing that if something can be observed, it isn't the observer. And once a person truly grasps that, their entire perception of life begins to shift. 3. The body as a tool, a temporary interface. The body is often mistaken for the self, but in reality, it's just a tool, a highly advanced piece of technology designed for the soul's experience in the material world. It's like a spacesuit for an astronaut, allowing interaction with this dense reality. But just like a spacesuit isn't the astronaut, the body isn't the real identity. The problem is, most people are so identified with their physical form that they forget there's something far greater, something beyond flesh and bone. Imagine playing a video game. The character on the screen moves, jumps, and interacts with the environment, but it isn't the player, it's just the avatar. The real player exists beyond the screen, controlling the game from a higher perspective. The same goes for human consciousness. The body experiences sensation, pleasure, pain, hunger, but the soul is the one observing, learning through those experiences. The moment a person realizes this, they stop being a prisoner of their physical form and start using it as the tool it was meant to be. Emotions, too, are part of this interface. They're signals, not identity markers. When a person touches something hot, pain tells them to pull away. The same applies to emotions. Fear warns, joy encourages, sadness signals change. Instead of being controlled by them, one can learn to read them, using them as a guide rather than a master. The soul isn't confined to these fleeting sensations. It simply uses them as feedback, a way to navigate the journey. So, if the body is just a tool, how should one treat it? Like any good instrument, it needs care. Neglecting it leads to unnecessary struggle, but obsessing over it creates attachment. Balance is key. Practices like proper nutrition, movement, and rest keep it functioning well, but the real power comes from knowing it's temporary. When a person stops identifying with the tool and starts identifying with the user, everything changes, because now they're looking beyond the illusion of separation. 4. Reincarnation, the soul's eternal journey. If the soul isn't the body and doesn't die when the body does, then what happens next? Reincarnation, the process of shedding one form and stepping into another. Just like a traveler switching vehicles for different terrains, the eternal soul moves through lifetime, collecting experiences, learning, evolving. Human consciousness is often trapped in the illusion of separation, believing this one life is all there is. But deep down, there's a reason people feel drawn to places they've never been or meet someone who feels strangely familiar. Think of life as a school. Each incarnation is like a new grade level, presenting lessons tailored for growth. Some lifetimes focus on patience, others on forgiveness, others on strength. The challenges a person faces aren't random. They're custom designed for their soul's evolution. That's why some people seem naturally gifted in certain areas, while others struggle with patterns they can't explain. It's not luck or coincidence. It's unfinished business from past lifetimes, waiting to be mastered. forward. Many ancient traditions have spoken about reincarnation for thousands of years. Hinduism describes it as samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, where karma plays a role in shaping future experiences. Buddhism teaches that liberation comes from breaking free of this cycle through enlightenment. Even in the West, past life regression therapy has revealed astonishing cases of people recalling intricate details of lives they never lived, at least not in this lifetime. The signs are everywhere, but modern thinking often dismisses them. So what does this mean in practical terms? It means nothing is truly lost. No effort, no lesson, no love. Everything carries forward. Instead of fearing failure, one can embrace it as a stepping stone for future progress. Instead of dreading death, one can see it as a transition, a shift into another experience. And instead of being stuck in the past, one can focus on what really matters, mastering the present moment, because that's what shapes what comes next. 5. The role of challenges in spiritual growth. Most people spend their lives avoiding pain, thinking challenges are obstacles instead of opportunities. But what if struggle isn't the enemy? What if it's the key to unlocking the soul's full potential? Every difficulty, whether it's loss, failure, or heartbreak, acts like a chisel, shaping a person into something greater. Human consciousness tends to resist discomfort, clinging to the illusion of separation. But the eternal soul understands. Every challenge is a hidden invitation for transformation. Think of a muscle. Without resistance, it never grows. The same applies to the soul. A person who's never faced hardship doesn't develop resilience, just like someone who's never been tested doesn't discover their strength. This is why the most successful people often have the most difficult pasts. They weren't lucky, they just embraced their struggles, using them as fuel. The real identity isn't built in comfort, it's revealed in moments of adversity, where the old self breaks so the true self can emerge. Pain is a powerful teacher, but only if one listens. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" a better question is, "What is this trying to teach me?" A betrayal could be a lesson in self-worth. A failure could be pushing someone toward a path they were too afraid to take. A financial loss could be stripping away attachments to false security. The soul isn't here for an easy ride. It's here to evolve, and nothing speeds up that process like discomfort. But here's the twist. Once a person stops resisting challenges and starts embracing them, suffering fades. Pain might still exist, but it no longer controls them. Instead of feeling like a victim, they step into their power, realizing they were never powerless to begin with. Every challenge is a hidden gift, a doorway to deeper understanding. And once a person starts seeing life this way, they begin to notice something else. Reality isn't as rigid as they once believed. 6. Multidimensional reality, beyond the physical plane. What if this world is just a tiny fraction of what truly exists? Most people live as if the physical plane is all there is, but the soul knows better. Human consciousness isn't confined to flesh and bone. It stretches beyond time, beyond space, beyond what the 5 senses can detect. Every so often, people get glimpses of this, a vivid dream that feels more real than waking life, a gut feeling that turns out to be right, an unexplainable déjà vu. These aren't coincidences, they're cracks in the illusion of separation. Imagine a fish in the ocean. It spends its life thinking the water is all there is, unaware of the vast world above the surface. The same applies to humans. Most are so absorbed in the physical that they ignore the greater reality surrounding them. But just because something isn't seen doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Radio waves, Wi-Fi signals, even thoughts, they're invisible, yet undeniably real. The soul operates on multiple levels at once, existing far beyond this temporary experience. Science is even starting to catch up. Quantum physics suggests that reality isn't as solid as it seems, that particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, that observation itself influences what happens. Spiritual traditions have been saying the same thing for centuries. Different realms, different dimensions, different versions of existence, all interconnected. Ever wondered why meditation or deep states of relaxation feel so expansive? That's the soul touching something beyond this plane, even if the mind can't fully grasp it. So what does this mean for everyday life? It means reality isn't fixed. It's fluid, shaped by perception. The limits people believe in are self-imposed. The more one taps into their real identity, the more they realize they aren't bound by the rules they've been taught. Manifestation, intuition, energy work all become clearer when a person stops seeing the world as just physical matter and starts experiencing it for what it truly is, a playground for the eternal soul. 7. Spiritual practices, connecting with your true essence. If reality is fluid and the soul is limitless, then why do so many people feel stuck? Simple, they're too distracted. The noise of daily life, the endless stream of thoughts, the constant identification with the body and mind, it all creates a fog, blocking access to their real identity. But here's the good news. This fog isn't permanent. It dissolves the moment a person turns inward. Spiritual practices aren't about adding something new. They're about peeling away what's been in the way all along. Meditation is one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to reconnect with the eternal soul. Just 5 minutes of sitting in silence, watching thoughts instead of reacting to them, can shift everything. The trick isn't to force the mind to be quiet. It's to notice that the one observing the thoughts isn't the thoughts themselves. Other practices like breathwork, energy work, or even deep self-reflection serve the same purpose, pulling awareness out of the illusion of separation and back into presence. Even small daily shifts make a difference. Ever tried walking without distractions? No phone, no music, just paying attention to the moment. That alone can wake up parts of human consciousness that have been asleep. Practicing mindfulness while eating, listening without thinking of a response, feeling emotions without labeling them. All of this strengthens the connection with the soul. It's about learning to exist fully without constantly needing to escape into the next thought, the next task, the next distraction. The key is consistency. A single meditation won't erase years of conditioning, just like one workout won't build a strong body. But over time, these practices rewire perception, making it easier to see life from the soul's perspective rather than the mind's limitations. And once that shift happens, something profound unfolds. Fear fades, intuition sharpens, and life starts feeling less like a struggle and more like an experience to be explored. And that's when real transformation begins. 8. Living as the soul, a new way to see life. Once a person stops identifying with the body and mind, everything changes. Life stops feeling like a chaotic series of events and starts revealing its deeper meaning. Human consciousness expands and challenges lose their grip, no longer defining who they are. When someone truly lives as the eternal soul, fear fades, worries shrink, and possibilities open up. They no longer react to life, they create it, seeing beyond the illusion of separation that once kept them trapped in limitation. Imagine walking through life with unshakable peace, knowing that no experience can truly harm who you are. Relationships improve because attachment turns into appreciation. Failures stop feeling like disasters and start looking like opportunities. Even physical pain or aging lose their power to cause suffering because the body is no longer mistaken for the self. Instead of merely existing, a person begins to live, fully, freely, deeply aware of their real identity as something infinite. This shift isn't about withdrawing from the world, it's about engaging with it in a new way. Money, success, relationships, all these things still matter, but they're no longer sources of identity. The soul can enjoy the material world without being enslaved by it. Imagine playing a game where you finally realize you're the player, not just the character. Suddenly there's room for creativity, joy, and deep fulfillment. Life becomes less about survival and more about experiencing, learning, and expanding. But this awareness isn't a finish line, it's a doorway. The more a person aligns with their soul, the more they tap into their true power. Intuition sharpens, manifestation accelerates, and a deep knowing replaces doubt. The mind might ask, what's next? But the soul already knows. This is just the beginning. Because when someone lives as their eternal essence, they don't just exist in the world, they shape it, and that changes everything. If you want to elevate your vibrations and manifest with more ease, I have prepared something special for you. Click the link in the first pinned comment and join us in the journey of awakening your inner mage.